May I speak to you in the name of God, who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen.
As I was thinking about All Saints' Day, we're celebrating All Saints today. The feast day is actually November 1st. It was this past Wednesday. But our prayer book allows us to move it to the following Sunday, as long as we celebrate it on the day of. So myself and two other people gathered Wednesday at 7 p.m. and celebrated the Eucharist here, so that all of you could celebrate All Saints. As I was thinking about All Saints, though, the sermons I've given on this day, or on the actual day, came to mind, and I realized I always speak about two people. All Saints is a day where we look back and we remember the saints who have come before us, who have given us an example of godly life, who have shown us with their lives what it means to love God with all our heart, mind, and soul, and what it means to love our neighbor as ourselves. And as I was thinking about this, I realized that I speak about the same two people every year, it feels like. My Nana, because she loved completely, unconditionally, without question, and St. Martin of Tours. If you want to know why, go look up his story if you don't remember, but I'm not going to talk about that this week, this year. Rather, I want to tell you about my friend Matt. I met Matt at St. John's Youth Group when I was about 15 or 16, and he was maybe 20 or 21. He was volunteering with the youth group there. Eric, the youth director, met him at a diocesan event and got him to come and help out with our youth group, and he became very involved. And when Matt and I first met, we didn't really click. We didn't really get along. I was dating this girl, and it was just terrible for me. I was trying to be someone I wasn't, and it was awful. And Matt's the kind of real person that you can't pretend to be someone else around. His genuineness just dispels that. So as hard as I was trying to be someone else, it didn't work out well until that ended and I got my head back on straight. But Matt and I became best friends, and more than that, he became someone who helped me to become the person I am, helped me to see how to become the person I am. And when he started at the youth group, some of the folks at the church weren't too happy about him being involved in the youth group and hanging out with the kids, because Matt is 6'4". He's about 240 pounds. At the time, he was interested in pursuing a career in professional wrestling. He had crazy blonde hair that was all over the place and usually streaked with other colors. A septum ring, so the bullhorn ring in the middle of the nose. His brother's my tattoo artist, so he was also covered in tattoos. And cursed without abandon. So a bunch of people there were kind of hesitant about Matt getting involved. And there were other volunteers in the youth group who complained to Eric about him. But he kept coming. And it was one of the best things for me and my friends. Because as I said, he is one of the most genuine people I know. And he really helped me to become who I was. And not just me, but a bunch of kids in that youth group at that time. I still carry a note that Matt wrote me in my wallet. I just cleaned out my wallet because it was getting kind of big. And it's one of the only things in there. He wrote it to me over 10 years ago. But it's still in there. Because his presence in my life was so important in forming me, not just to be who I am, but to be the Christian I am. To follow Jesus as I do. Matt, as big and brash and intimidating as he might seem, is one of the most loving people I've ever met. He helped me not just become who I am, but become who I am in a way that is loving, in a way that seeks to love God with everything I have, with all of who I am, and to love my neighbor as myself. I would not be the person I am without him. On All Saints' Day, we often look back. We look at those people who have come before us and gone ahead of us. My Nana, St. Martin of Tours, a long list of other people. And it's good to remember all the people who have inspired us, who have shown us what it means to follow Jesus, what it means to live a godly life with joy and creativity and enthusiasm. But we also have to remember those people, there are still people inspiring us around us. And it's an important thing to remember, not just so we appreciate them, because if there are people around us inspiring us, chances are we are doing the same. All Saints, we remember the people who have come before, who have gone ahead. We call to mind the hope we have in Jesus Christ, that we've been adopted as God's children through him, that we've been restored to full relationship with God, and that as we heard in the first letter of John, that we will be like him when he is fully revealed again. But it's not a feast day. It's not a holiday to just look back and look ahead and forget about where we are now. Forget about things as they are. But we're supposed to look to those heroes of faith. Look to those saints. To be inspired. To go out and do the same. And that's why we need to remember the people still with us. The people around us who inspire us. And we need to remember that we might not realize it, but we are doing the same for other people. That we are a hero of faith. We are a saint for someone else, probably. We may never know it. But we need to live our lives like it's true. In the Beatitudes that we heard in the Gospel today, we hear this picture of the world that doesn't quite seem right. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who are persecuted. Blessed are the merciful, the meek. If we look around the world, those folks don't seem blessed. But when we come here, when we follow Jesus, we do so in the hope that we go out those doors and make that world a little bit more real. That we bring about God's kingdom a little bit more fully. We can't do that alone. It's too much work. We also can't do it alone because we'll just be deflated. We'll get worn out. We need each other's example. We need these heroes of faith from years ago and heroes of faith from today to build us up, to strengthen us, to keep us going out and doing the work of building God's kingdom. It's easy to look at people who have gone before us and see the great things they've done. It's easy to think of saints as people who have been approved by the Vatican for doing so many miraculous deeds and leading such great and lofty lives of faith. But really, the term saint is meant for all the believers. We are all saints as believers in God. Today we remember everyone who's come before us. But we also remember that we are called to do the same. We are called to live lives that will inspire others to go out and share the gospel. Inspire others to go out and build God's kingdom a little bit more around us. Do you guys remember? We're going to sing it at the 10 o'clock service, but do you remember the song, I Sing a Song of the Saints of God? It's a little ridiculous. The only line I can remember off the top of my head is the one about one was mauled by a fierce wild beast. But it's going through this litany. I think one was at T too. It's very English. One of the last lines of that song is an I mean to be one too. The song is singing about all these people who have come before. One was a doctor, one was a priest, one was mauled by a fierce wild beast. But it ends with an I mean to be one too. And it's not some dream about years from now, but it's a wish about today, about tomorrow, and the next day. We remember all these people who have gone before us, not just out of pious sentimentality, but to inspire us to pick up the mission they left us, to pick up the work they left, so that we can go out these doors and make the world a little bit more like the dream that Jesus told us about in today's gospel. Amen.